Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the channel today. Today, I want to talk about some modification options to a standard soft plastic bait. The other day, I was at my local Cabela's in Bowling Green, and I stopped and picked up this bait that I hadn't seen before. It's made by a company called Culprit, but I'm sure there's other companies that make them as well. I'm just using this as an example. And this happens to be something called a 6-inch culprit worm, and it's in a color called Fire Tiger. So I was looking at the bait, and I kind of like the what I liked about it was it has a long body, and then it's followed by like a curly tail on it. And so I took it, rigged it up, threw it around a little bit, and as I was fishing it, I got to thinking, I could probably rig this up several different ways, and actually modify the bait itself to be fished different ways. So I starting out with like a pair of scissors. I started thinking, okay, well, if I snip the tail off right at the back here. So say I want to cut this tail section off there. I can turn it into kind of like a Ned rig or a short worm. That would be one option. The other option would be I could actually trim it right here about an inch or so up and leave the body and the tail and then have it kind of like a curly tail. Okay, that would be another option. And then a third option would be to just shorten it up to maybe a 3 or 4 inch section from here to here and turn it into like another, just a small Ned rig. So just the one bait alone allows you multiple options to do different things with it. And then once you rig it up, you can fish it numerous ways. I mean, you could fish it not straight on the jig head. You could put it on like a Texas style rig with an EWG hook and a Texas rig weight. You could rig it up with, as a drop shot rig, which would probably be really good because a lot of guys like to fish the like 4-inch robo worms on the drop shot rig, and this is not too dissimilar from that. And you can actually shorten the length of it to make it look like a robo worm with a curly tail. So I guess the main thing is when you get your lures, don't always just fish them the way they come in the package. Think about other options or other ways that you could fish them and what you could do with them, because really just being able to play around with the lures will give you some options, in different ways to fish them, because in some cases the fish may like the presentation as the manufacturer made the lure, but in other cases you may need to downsize it or kind of turn the lure into something more finessey, and then you'll do better with that. And then the other thing is that because a lot of these companies that make these lures make them in multiple colors, you can actually have a pretty good selection of these. You can get 2 or 3 colors, maybe like a dark color, a light color, and something kind of in between. And that gives you, depending on the water conditions and the amount of sunlight on the day that you're fishing, it gives you a couple options too. But baits like these can be very, very versatile as you're fishing, and it really is kind of just limited by your own creativity. So if you have any tips or tricks that you've used, feel free to share them in the comment section. I'd love to hear them, and it's always nice to hear what other people are trying to. But those are just a few ideas I had from playing around with the lures the other day, and I will modify them at some point the next time I'm out fishing and play around with them too, and see if I can make the lure work better one way versus another, or just depending on the conditions that are fishing that particular day, how that affects the fishing. So as always, thanks again for watching. Get out on the water when you can, and the weather's really getting nice right now in Kentucky. We've had a lot of rains, which have been kind of screwing up the fishing, but I am managing to catch at least a fish or two every time I've been out. So thanks again, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.